Welcome back. If you've chosen the accountability script option, the final step in your conversation about the cost crisis will take a new direction and collect some different data points. This last part is the ask or call to action, step 5 in the pattern. You'll shift the conversation to ask that voters consider accountability. It means holding someone responsible for their actions, especially if those actions have caused some harm. Holding a person to account often also implies some reparation or consequence. In the case of elected officials who have actively sought to undermine the well-being of New Hampshire residents, the most logical and achievable consequence is the loss of their power. We need them voted out in 2026. Your canvassing will contribute to that outcome. With that in mind, we're going to add some goals. For the final accountability step, we're aiming to counter right-wing narratives, propaganda, and disinformation with truthful, fact-based information. We'll invite voters to think about that information that we provide. We're going to be gathering data we can share with our candidates to refine their messaging and our own. And ultimately, of course, we want to motivate voters, help them feel that their votes will matter. So, the door is open. You've introduced yourself and your purpose. You've listened well. You've looked for common ground and shared your own story. Maybe you've worked through some challenging discussion. Now, the final step, the call to action, begins with an additional statement of purpose. One of the things we're doing is making sure voters know the positions their representatives in Concord have been taking on this. If your group is focused on a single extremist legislator, you'll say, our representative is, and here you might say your representative if you're canvassing outside your own district. And now you ask an open-ended question. What do you think of him or her? Many voters may be unfamiliar with the representative's positions. This is why we're out canvassing. I have this list of bills she sponsored and her votes on bills about affordability issues. You're welcome to take this. Note that you're not asking a yes-no question. Would you like this? But rather framing it as an invitation. You're welcome. Your handout will be something your group has prepared for the canvass. This example is being used by a group in Wolfboro who want to hold an extremist anti-abortion legislator accountable. This is simply a list of bills, a good springboard for discussion. Here's another example of accountability for a particular representative. This is a postcard Democrats in Bristol and Bridgewater sent to voters and can also use at doors. You might point out an item. He voted against a school lunch program. But let's say you have multiple extremist Republicans in your district. It's not just one person. Here, the open-ended question is, what do you think about the positions the Republican Party has been taking? This example of a handout is a more general postcard calling out the Republican Free State leadership with details on the back. As messaging from the New Hampshire Democratic Party and individual candidates evolves, you'll be able to align your handout with the affordability policies that offer a clear alternative and promote a positive vision of Democrats' agenda for New Hampshire. This accountability discussion is likely to involve the same skills you've already used: empathetic listening, sharing stories, looking always to expand common ground on shared values. As you sense it's time to start moving to the call for action, you'll ask, so when it's time for elections next fall, how likely are you to want a change? And you'll have a list to record a response. You might hear,
Look, I'm grateful for the time you're taking to come out and talk, but I'm just not convinced that Democrats have much to offer. I guess I'm going to have to wait and see who the candidates are and what they say.
I'd mark that response disagree. Well, I really need some things to change. I want to believe they can get better. As a retired teacher, I guess I'd vote for someone who promised to protect public schools. I'd call that agreement. Once again, you'll apply your instincts and skills until you feel it's time to wrap up. You'll pose a final question to gauge the effectiveness of this canvassing conversation itself. Would you say this conversation has increased your knowledge and understanding of these issues? And you'll have a way to record that response. Oh, absolutely. I had no idea our rep was doing that stuff, but I'm going to pay attention now. Strong agreement. Let's say the voter doesn't feel enlightened. I'm even more confused now. I'm just so worried that I'll lose this house. This is your chance to raise more open-ended questions and see if you can build the relationship. What would help you understand better? Are there ways I could help? I'd mark her unsure. And I might also add a note in minivan that I want to return.
Nah, man. I've been on to these MAGA Republicans for a long time. They've been trying to wreck our lives ever since Sununu took over. I'm glad to talk with you, but you didn't tell me anything I didn't know.
I'd record that as a strong disagree. And this could also be a time to use the notes to type in an explanation. In every case, before leaving, you'll express appreciation. Thank you so much. Closing with thanks is appropriate no matter how the conversation went. And thanks to you for watching. I hope to see you in the Zoom workshop where we'll practice this kind of conversation together.
Well, I'm going to tell you, fascists, you may be surprised. People in this world are getting organized. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose.